This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Not quite Saturday, but it is a Wednesday night special on the eve of the Sweet 16 and the start of the 2025 Major League Baseball season. We welcome you as we are streaming on CoVA Sports TV and all over the web, Facebook, LinkedIn, IG, Twitter, X, and we're always encouraging to interact with us. The guy in the black Nike shirt, I guess he's got an NIL deal with them, is the coach Ed Young with his 500-plus wins, waiting to get back on the sidelines. Also has a championship belt in the background. I am Matt Hatfield, donning my World Series Arizona Diamondbacks hat from 2 years ago and my Diamondbacks nice little sleeve pullover because, let's be honest, folks, Ed's a Yankees fan. I'm a D-backs fan, and my franchise, I think, have won as many world championships this century as his, with maybe like 1/7 of the payroll. Pretty remarkable stuff when you think about it.
27 is the number you have to know. 27. We'll work on 28, maybe.
Don't make me play that. Don't make me play that clip again that we ended last week's show with. I'm sure I'm going to bring Diane back out. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming. You keep talking smack.
That a lot of people don't really want to see that because that was like one of the fluke World Series stuff. So
no, it was Buster Olney talking with the Orioles lady in the stands. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah, the Stankies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that because
everybody give me a prediction about the American League East. Who's going to win it?
I have great fears of the Skankies because they're loaded. They'll buy their way out of anything.
They might be loaded, Diane, but they've got injuries galore. And by the way, if I understand it right, you open up the season. Is it with Milwaukee? Is that who your team opens up with?
Home right? Milwaukee, I think it's 2 or 3 games.
Isn't game 2 against your former Yankee pitcher Nestor Cortez at the stadium? Could he go out there and throw a gem in the daytime when he's got good numbers in the daytime?
I like Nestor. I hate to see him lose.
But you got injuries galore. Stanton's on the shelf.
Oh, it's
Garrett Cole's done. And by the way, we're going to get on Dave Sims. Hey, now the new Yankees voice on our Saturday program in the very near future. Dave, we should have actually worked on getting him on beforehand. We're going to get Timmy Kirchin on. We'll get a lot of our baseball people throughout the year and also sprinkle in some Orioles Tides flavor for a lot of the folks in the 757 because Harbor Park is the home opener on Friday night, while there'll be some Sweet 16 hoops action. And by the way, this is an MLB Over-Under Sweet 16 preview specials. We do our over-under picks, and we do the Sweet 16 breakdown for the games coming up on Thursday and Friday. Ed's bracket is still, I think, in the mix for our CoVA Sports TV bracket challenge. Title displayed him having some whiffs on his parlays over the weekend. But before we get to all that, we want to show you, for folks that are unfamiliar with this, we've been doing this for a decade plus, going back to our radio days on ESPN and Hampton Roads. We do this every year. We do 5 over-unders. We alternate who gets the over-under choice. And here's how, as a matter of fact, we actually had Tim Kirchin. I wish I had the clip in front of me now. It's probably up on our YouTube playlist if you go pull it up, folks. We had him comment on how this would go, and he loved Ed's picks a lot better than mine. But look how close yours truly was to a perfect 5-0. Ed ended up winning the bracket, or the challenge, I should say. Give him credit. He went 4-1. I hate to give you credit, but I do. 4-1 for you. And for me, it was 3-2. The Orioles got me a W. My D-backs, I had to rep the D-backs. Had the best offense regular season in the sport, but they just had some pitching breakdowns late, and it cost them a playoff spot. I'm also blaming the Braves and the Mets for conspiring together to split with each other in that tiebreaker game, so we missed the playoffs and didn't have a chance to defend our National League crown. I got that W, though. Oh, the Cubbies. I'm still upset at the Cubbies. So was my guy Dino, too. By half a game, Ed. Yankees – under. I went under, and you guys just barely got over. I was hoping you'd lose one more game, and I would have won that. Cubbies and Yanks, I'm 2 wins away, and I would have been 5-0. The Twins, thank goodness for their fade late in the year. The Guardians won the division, and the Tigers and Royals got in. The Twinks left home. Twinks don't have that 757 flavor anymore. They used to have Michael Goodire, who we've had on many times before, Great Bridge alum. And by the way, son playing some ball for the Wildcats now. You had the Mets as an over. You took the Guardians as an over, which was an awesome, smart pick. You must have talked to your Guardians aficionado, Mr. Rod Johnson, out there. You had the Reds as an over. That was an L. We'll see if Tito Francona, the former Cleveland skipper, who had them a win away from a World Series over the Cubs several years back, can turn around the Redlegs. Under for Texas. They did not repeat with Bruce Bochy, the former Tides ball player, now the skipper in Texas, won some championships in San Francisco. And San Francisco you had as an under that one too. So you review the picks there. What do you think? You awful proud to bat 800, because if you bat 800, you're going to win the batting title.
Yeah, I was a good year for me. A lot of people came through for me. Wasn't too close. I just thought Cleveland was easy. Cincinnati, I just thought they could put it together. They didn't. But yeah, I'll take it 4-1. 4-1. I'll take it, and hope to go 5-0 this time.
Yep. So those are the picks, and we will give you our selections now. And since you won the championship for Major League Baseball for this past year, and we're going to have some 5. We'll take a break in a little bit and do some 5 fun ones after we do our over-under picks, and then get to our college basketball Sweet 16 breakdown. I will give you the option to go first or punt, even though this is baseball, not football, and let me go first. But I would think you want the first crack at this, because I have a sheet right here, ladies and germs. People are going to see it now. He's going to try to see if he can see it as I shake the sheet. I have a sheet of literally 5 picks I like and 3 alternates, and Ed's going to do his darndest, and I mean his darndest, to steal them, but he's not going to pull it off. I'm not going to let him. So would you like to go first, or do you want to punt to me and then get the next 2 picks?
I will take first.
You will go first. All right. So the over-unders are scrolling across the ticker for ladies and gents out there, courtesy of DraftKings. Those are the totals for all the teams. Dodgers had the highest win total, and to no shock, the lowest. It's the White Sox, who had a stinky year last year. They're not going to be a whole lot better. But you can pick any of the 30 Major League Baseball teams in the sport, over or under, for your first draft choice. Where are you going, sir, for your first over?
I think the American League Central will be an interesting place to be this year.
Why is that?
I think the bad teams other than Chicago will be better, and the better teams last year are going to drop a little. So we may go into the last series with the chance of somebody winning it.
You said bad teams. I think, didn't they have 4 teams win 82 games or more last season?
Well, when I say bad, they're the bottom teams in that division.
Well, there was only one bottom team. It was the White Sox.
Yeah,
and you had 3 playoff teams.
They're horrible. Kansas City is coming in this year at 83.5.
Okay.
I feel strong. They're going to be 85.
85. That gets you just over by a game and a half. You like Bobby Witt Jr., I would imagine.
But what scares me is I think Detroit will be vastly improved. Cleveland will be in the running, probably first place most of the year. And we didn't even talk about the Twins.
Right. Well, they struggled on a stretch. And by the way, you knew they have some ODU flavor with Vinny Pasquantino, their DH, who is dealing with a grade 1 hamstring strain, but they are optimistic he will be back soon if he's not ready for opening day.
Yeah, he was hurt most all of last year. They shut him down, I think, the last month of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with the Kansas City Royals, and then we'll just see what happens. But I think that race is going to be pretty good. I think it'll be the best race in the American League.
I'm with you. 3 teams at over 83 or over under 83.5 with Milwaukee, KC, and Detroit on our list as you see it across the ticker. They do have good talent there with MJ Melendez, Hunter Renfroe behind some of their big bats in the lineup like Salvador Perez and Pasquantino, and, of course, Bobby Witt Jr., who was an MVP candidate and would have got it last year if not for the outrageously productive season by one Aaron Judge from your Bronx Bombers. Like that pick a lot, but guess what? It was not one of my 5, so I'm happy about that. I'm very, very happy about that. So let me give you my first pick. I teased it earlier. Tito Francona, the skipper of the Cincinnati Reds, who will be
on my list.
It's on your list. Let me see your list. Oh, is it really number 2 on your list? Oh, you poor guy. Well, guess what? It's number 1 on my list because I like that. Listen, they've got some good young arms. I think just his presence in the clubhouse alone. In fact, I actually heard Tim Kirkson say this on PTI with Kornheiser and Wilbon, and I was thinking it. is going to have a huge effect. Ellie De La Cruz is one of the most exciting players in the sport. If you haven't seen him, he's a blur on the base pads. He gets hits galore. Their lineup is a little streaky, but their pitching, it doesn't have a household name. Hunter Green, Brady Singer, Nick Martinez, Nick Lodolo yet, and their bullpen is spotty. He's going to get them better and better as the season goes on. And much like you said with the American League Central, I don't think the National League Central is overpowering. I think it's between them and the Cubs for that division crown. And I think Cincinnati will go out there and make a move. A little worried about Spencer Steer starting the year on the injured list, but give me the Redlegs. They're over under total. Ed, double check me here. You got the list as you glance at it. I think it's 78.5. Is that it?
Yep.
All right. So give me the Reds for pick number 1.
I try to sneak it through. I didn't think you would touch them. Son of a gun.
Yeah, you tried to sneak it through. And by the way, just to examine, go ahead.
I think the Reds win the division.
I think it's them and the Cubs to the wire, maybe the last day of the season. But as you see last year, I took 3 overs, 2 unders. Ed took 3 overs, 2 unders. Will we do the same this year? It remains to be seen. But I'm going to go with an under for my second selection. And I go to the American League West Division. We'll see if Ed gets upset about this. And by the way, if you're out there playing this game for the first time, maybe you do it with your buddies. You put a couple of friendly shekels on it, some ice cream or, potato chips, something. We don't want to condone something extremely crazy out there. A little tip for those out there that are playing the game for the first time. If you take an over or an under for a team in a division, you might want to take another team in that division oppo. So, for example, if I was to take the Reds as an over, I might want to take someone in the NL Central as an under. For Ed, he's taking the Royals as an over. He might want to take someone in the AL Central as an under. You could get 2 wins there or you could get double whammy. But for me, I'm going to go American League West Division, Edward. And for that pick, I think this team that has been dominant for a long, long time, even though they picked up a good youngster who's going to help them eventually in Mr. Smith out in right field. But getting rid of Kyle Tucker to the Cubs is going to hurt Houston. It's not the same team that won all those championships when they were the trash can gang with Altuve, Bregman, Correa, and all those guys. Springer, Correa's gone, Springer's gone, Bregman went to Boston. They still have Altuve, and they still have some good players. Obviously, Yordan Alvarez is a beast. Christian Walker come from my D-backs. He can hit some home runs. Cam Smith is going to be good and right. But their rotation, even with Valdez and Arrighetti, Hunter Brown, I have some question marks. Josh Hader in the bullpen is not as lights out as he used to be. And they got off to a really slow start last year. I think the total is too high at 87.5. I think best case is 86 and 76. So give me Houston under the 87.5 for pick number 2. Was that on your sheet or no?
No, but you know what? That's a highlight pick. I was in my head. I was saying Houston is first time I'm thinking going under. They're going to start going the other way a little bit. A little bit of a revamping, somewhat more so probably next year. I see that happen for them.
Okay. What is your pick number 2 and pick number 3?
I am going to go to my division of the American League East and go to the Jays of the color blue. They're 78.5. Made some minor improvements, but I think good enough. Everybody's expecting Guerrero to have a Aaron Judge year in his walk year, if in fact he walks. I think 78. I think they get 80. I think they get at least 80 wins.
You love the Anthony Santander pickup from the Orioles, don't you?
Good. They had a couple of those type of pickups. Nothing earth-shattering. No Juan Soto type pickup, but pickups that I think if they do what they're capable of doing, will be said by many tremendous pickups by the Blue Jays by the end of the year.
So you like Toronto as an over?
Yep.
And that total again is?
78.5. I think they can get 80.
They're a strange team because in that division, as you well know, I think there are 3 teams that could finish 1st or 5th, the Rays, the Jays, the Red Sox, and anywhere in between. I don't think we feel the same way about the Orioles and Yankees. I think they could finish 1st, but maybe not 5th in either team's case. Probably 1st or 4th for those 2 teams is probably the feeling. But that division, it's any one of those 5 teams, if they catch fire, could do a lot of damage, even beyond the regular season. Not a bad pick.
I think the Red Sox are everybody's darling.
Yes.
With the Bregman pickup, some other key pickups. I still feel the Orioles got to get over some early season injuries. Gunnar Henderson is one right now, and a couple of their pitchers are hurting. They're going to have to come over that. Yankees, I know they made pickups, but I don't think they're not a walk away at all. And, of course, the Blue Jays, I don't know. Blue Jays, I kind of think will be the number 5 team in that division, and they're a team that gives the Yankees problems.
And you're taking them as an over as the number 5 team, not Tampa Bay, with one of your favorites from the 757 with Brandon Lau in that batting order for Tampa Bay. He out of Nansemond River High School. Ed got to know him many a times. We actually had him on the show. Got to know him real well, and his dad, who was also one of the assistant coaches with Mark Stufel at Nansemond River, as they made some great playoff runs. But Ed, I think the big difference for the O's will be, even though their rotation's a question mark, Charlie Morton comes over, Zach Eflin stays, Dean Kramer, Cade Povich. It's not a household rotation. They have a lot of those young bats with Rushman and Westberg and Cowser and Mountcastle and so forth, but they get Felix Bautista back at the back end of that bullpen. For me, the one that I'm fascinated about with Toronto before you make your third pick here is, how does Max Scherzer do in Toronto? People wondering about Justin Verlander, how many more wins he's got left in his arm now in San Francisco on the West Coast, the left coast. Max Scherzer no longer in America. He's a Canadian with the Blue Jays. I think he's going to have a good year if Toronto's going to stay in the mix and not be a seller come trade deadline time.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I may not have heard right, but I think I heard he's going to open the season on the IL. A
lot of guys are banged up. They're going to not begin the season. I mean, Mookie Betts is well-documented health issues, losing all the weight, missed those couple of games in Tokyo. But, I mean, eventually he's going to be out there, you would expect. Actually, it does look like he's expected to start, from what I'm reading, on Saturday against the Orioles. So they will have him, looks like, this weekend.
Oh, so he might have been beginning.
That's as of 9 hours ago, but this could be streaming, and then 5 hours, people watch it later, and they say he's out for 2 weeks. I have no idea. So.
Well, I'm just mystified. You come into spring training, and all of a sudden, within a week, Garrett Cole's out. Luis Gil for the Yankees is too great. They're on a 60-day list. There's some other pitchers. Like, what did you do all off season? How are you not ready? And then you tore something, or now you need Tommy John. It's like back in the day, Tommy John was last resort. Now it's like, hey, the arm don't look right. You know what? Let's go do Tommy John now, get it over with, just in case. And we now have guys on their second Tommy John. And back in the day, that was unheard of. You had a second Tommy John, you didn't. You just goodbye, retire. I just, and then again, I'm going to get on my old school mountain soapbox. Back in the day, you had guys throwing 300 and some innings a year, and you never heard these kind of injuries.
Back in my day. So give us your pick number 3 to go with. Blue Jays over 78.5 and Royals over 83.5. You got another over for us, or are you going under here?
I'm going to use the Hatfield rule. If you pick an over on one, you got to go under on somebody else. I don't think the Cubs are everybody's darling this year, because I do think the Reds are going to win a little bit more. Brewers and Cardinals will get a share win. 85.5 for the Cubs. I say they go 83. Cubs under.
Really?
Convince me I'm wrong.
Well, I actually had it as in my bullpen. I had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I had 3 teams below that as question marks. And one of my question marks as a possibility, if you stole one, that's how I play this game with you, was Cubs as an over. Now, last year they burned me. You saw I took them last year, they burned me. But getting Kyle Tucker, I think, is a big deal. I think their lineup with Suzuki, Tucker, Happ, Bush, Swanson at the top is really good. The bottom of it with Crow, Armstrong, Shaw, Maya is a little bit sketchy. And I do think their starting rotation, Justin Steele, Tyon, Imanaga, who was great, Matthew Boyd can be really good. And I think Ryan Preston in the back end's got some experience as a closer. So I think they're going to be right there with the Reds to win that division. But that division could be won at about 84, 85, 86 games. So I don't think that's far off. And I do think the Cubs are in the market to go make a move and try to put themselves over the top come deadline time. So that's an interesting one. You take the Cubbies as an under. Wow.
Take Cubbies as an under. It's a feeling. I just got a feeling. Not a wild guess. I just got a feeling on that one.
Well, that leaves my board here alone. So I like this. So I gave you I want to shock I'm not going to say the pants off you, because I don't want to have people say, oh my gosh, Ed Young's pantless here. I'm going to shock the stuffing out of you.
I got shorts on right now. I'm good.
Shorts on. Okay. Well, the pants are off you then. I'm going to shock you with this one. What team, Ed, is without a home city?
You're going to go over Athletics.
I am.
In Sacramento.
And the total, double check me, is 71.5 for them.
You're going to go over and say they're going to get 75, 76 wins.
By the way, do we call them the Oakland A's, the Sacramento A's, or just the A's? They're just the A's. Like the Washington football team they were just a football team. They weren't called Redskins, Commanders, anything. They're just the A's.
MLB.com has them as Athletics. I'm calling Sacramento A's. They're going to be there for 3 years. Okay. But apparently the official title is since the city, they're renting the A's, or the A's are renting Sacramento. They're just called Athletics. I'm calling them Sacramento A's.
Okay.
And it's surprising. Everybody, all the baseball experts, all of them have said they'll go over 71.
Well, look, I think they have enough bats between Brent Rooker getting healthy and Miguel Andujar, Langoliers, Bleday, Max Muncy, by the way, former Dodger. He's got some pop. They got Luis Severino. You know him, by the way. Luis Severino used to pitch in New York. Look at their schedule early on. They play some winnable. I think they have like the Rockies and the Marlins. They have a lot of winnable games in the early front half. They can make a little start here. And they have a great closer in Mason Miller, who is maybe the best one in the sport. You could make a case before the injury, Felix Bautista was that guy for Baltimore. You could make a case it was Emmanuel Clase for Cleveland prior to his postseason meltdown in the ALCS against Ed's Bronx Bombers. But I'm telling you, the most consistent guy throwing heat out of the pen is Mason Miller for the A's. And I think he will shut the door on a lot of games early. They could fade late, but with 71.5, give it to me. I'm taking the Astros as an under, so I got to take someone in that division as an over, and I'm going with the Athletics from California. I'll just call them the California A's. How about that? Oakland, Sacramento, like the Angels, the LA Angels, the Anaheim Angels, the California Angels. They're the California A's.
No, this proper way to do it. They're playing in Sacramento, calling the Sacramento A's. And I found it interesting, Rob Manfred on Doggy's show today said they're going to play all but maybe 2 or 3 night games in Sacramento.
By the way, you mentioned Doggy's Mad Dog Russo's interview with Manfred. Did you happen to see? I saw it cut up through social media. A little bit of an upset, cranky, cantankerous Manfred about ESPN pulling the plug beyond this year with the deal, not giving him as much love as they did the NBA and NFL and college sports. A little hurt, little upset, little feelings there about ESPN, the mothership, 4-letter network.
I missed that part of the interview. I got more of the talking about the A's and the status of baseball going into this year, the overall about it. So I missed that part, but I know he's hot with ESPN.
So I've gotten 3 of my 5 I want. So I'm going to get 4 of my 5 I want. And believe it or not, one's a National League team and one is an American League team. And I've taken an over. I've taken an under. I've taken an over. So you know what that means, Edward? Where am I going? Under, down under. And you know what? I would play the song, except it's probably copyrighted for us to do this on the stream. So I'll just hum it. Dun, 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 dun. Bring your kitties, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the New York Mets, they're going to sock the ball with Soto and Alonso and Lindor and Nemo, but their pitching is going to be disastrous. Rotation of Clay Holmes, former Yankee closer, as an ace because Sean Manaea's out. Frankie Montas is out. They got McGill, Peterson, Senga, and Canning. Ugh. Now, they will go spend some money. You know that, especially around the deadline. But they're in the same division with the Phillies and the Braves, who are now healthy. And I think the over-under total is just too high for the Mets at 90.5. So give me the Mets to make fans pull their hair out because they will win at 90 or 89 or 88. I think at the most, 90.5 is too much for this team, even with the great Juan Soto no longer playing for Ed's Yanks. Give me the Mets as an under.
I wish the Mets well. I'm over Juan Soto.
Don't lie. You do not wish them well whatsoever. You do not.
I don't. It's done with. It's finished. And He took the money and ran. I can't fault him. $865 million. Woo, boy. I would have done it too. So I'm not going to fault him. But I will fault where did I have it? I told you a little bit earlier, somebody's got to finish last in the American League East.
You did.
And I'm going to go, Brandon, I hope Brandon don't hear this. The Blue Jays. They're 78. Yeah, he just, who cares?
No, Blue Jays. You mean Tampa Bay Rays, not Blue Jays.
Rays. Yeah. Where's my Rays at? 81.5.
Didn't you just say you thought the Blue Jays would finish in last, and now you're saying the Rays? You keep flip-flopping.
Yeah, you know what? I'm getting the Rays and the Blue Jays mixed up. I think I'm getting my Jays and R's mixed up. Because didn't I go over? Yeah, I went over.
You did go over Toronto, yeah.
Tampa Bay under 78.5.
Is that all it is for Tampa Bay?
Yeah, 78.5. I think they'll hit 75.
I haven't looked at the schedule, but it would be so poetic if they're sitting at 78 wins and 83 losses, and they're playing your Yankees the last game of the season and Lau hit it like a walk-off home run. I wouldn't kiss him because he would be offended to me doing that, but I would blow him kisses. That'd be great.
How about their home field this year is my Yankees spring training facility?
It is. But, they don't have a knock-you-over rotation either with Bradley Rasmussen, Baz Littell. McClanahan's out to start the year.
He was out all last year. No, he's still not recovered.
Yeah, he's got the nerve irritation in his left tricep. So, and now Pete Fairbanks is another closer for them. I think he's got the. I hate to say this, I think he's got like the vertigo. So when it gets cold out, he can be, really funky. So, yeah, I'm not sure that one's going to hit for them going over. That might work out for you at 78.5 as an under for Tampa. But they always seem to do more with less, better than anybody. They are so well run in terms of a franchise. They're about as well run as any in the whole, as organizationally speaking, as any in the sport. What's your last pick? You got 2 unders and 2 overs. Yeah, go ahead.
They're never really out. They play really well together. There's nothing egotistical about them. They hate the Yankees. Brandon has said that on our show in the past. As a whole, they really don't like the Yankees. And it's because, well, actually some coaches that aren't there anymore. Nevin, was it Phil Nevin? When Phil Nevin was coaching, they said he called him some expletives about cussing all the time and
expletives. You mean expletives?
Expletives and cuss words and bad stuff. Bad stuff. But I just think they're last place, and I don't think they'll get 78.5.
Okay.
So that leaves me with my last one, right?
Yep, you got 2 overs, 2 unders. To recap quickly, you have Royals over, Blue Jays over, Cubs under, and Rays under. You've gone AL Central, AL East, NL Central, AL East. So you've not taken any Western Division teams and nobody from the NL East or from the AL West just yet.
You stole my Reds, NL Central.
No NL East, no NL West, no AL West for you yet. Just yet.
You know what? I have a question mark on this, but I think I'm going to erase the question mark and take them. I think I took them last year. Padres.
Ooh.
The only problem is them, and the Dodgers are going to win it, but it's going to come down second place is Arizona or San Diego.
That's right.
And I'm going to go Padres over 85.5.
Okay.
I'm going to go 87, 88.
Big year for Tatis, huh?
Yeah, I think they got decent pitching. Injuries hurt them last year. They're good enough to make a deal at the end of July if need be. They have pieces in the minor league. I think somebody's got to finish second, and it's going to be them or Arizona. I don't see Colorado doing it.
My guys.
By speaking of your guys, you do know who they play second series of the year.
I do.
In New York. If I didn't hate New York traffic, we could take a jaunt up there, but I hate New York traffic.
Well, they also play the Washington Nationals pretty early in the season too, which I went up there for last year. If you remember, I did the show not from the stadium, but I did the show was at VA Live as well with the high school hoopage. Made it a twofer, working vacation trip. last June.
That might be worth if it's a weekend, that might be worth a John up there.
I believe it is.
I've never been up to the National Stadium.
You said you haven't?
I've never been. I've been to Baltimore, obviously, but not Washington.
Yeah, we'll have to treat you well up there. Us D-backs give you a good treat there. Well, so you go with the Padres as an over, and I tell you what, that makes this game interesting because I will just say the fifth one on my list before the cutoff was the Angels as an under at 71.5. But reports are that Mike Trout is looking really good, so that does give me some cause for concern. And I don't want to take 3 in the American League West. That's too many to watch AL West games. And I have to be a homer 2 years in a row, right? You got to do it. And I actually like this team. I think the D-backs are set up well. I do agree they will not win the division. The Dodgers have just bought too many superstars. But Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, getting Josh Naylor from Cleveland was a great pickup. I like that pickup a lot. But the real big pickup was Corbin Burns because my guys, in my opinion, have 2 aces. Now, if we fall out of it, the bad news is they're going to deal one of those aces in Zach Gallen. He'll be gone because he's going to be eligible to leave anyway with free agency. But I like the rotation of Gallen, Burns, Merrill Kelly, Brandon Pfaadt. Eddie Rodriguez has not been consistent, but if he's your 4th or 5th starter, you're in good shape, really good shape. And I think the bullpen will be a little bit better. Justin Martinez, he was up and down, but he has good stuff. So the total for my D-backs is 86.5. Is that right?
86.5 D-backs.
It's one more than the Padres. It's the same as the Boston Red Sox.
86.5.
I didn't want to do it to be the homer, but I think they can win 87, 88, 89, maybe even 90 games and get a wild card slot. I do think they have enough in the lineup, and I do think they'll have some pretty decent health. Gabby Moreno got hurt last year, which really was a big blow. Perdomo at the bottom of the lineup, he's a real linchpin guy, X-Factor, underrated guy. So I like this team. Unfortunately, we're not as good as the Dodgers, and the Padres do worry me if they get hot because I think they can be a little more explosive than us even at times, despite us having the highest scoring offense. I say us. The D-backs having the highest scoring offense in baseball last year. But give it to me. Torey Lovello's guys will get it done over 86.5. So to recap it, ladies and gents, before we go to break here, and then move on to our quick buy or sell baseball, and then the college hoops Sweet 16 breakdown. Ed's picks. He's got Royals over 83.5, Blue Jays over 78.5, Cubbies under 85.5, Rays under 78.5, and the Padres over 85.5. I've got the Reds over 78.5, the Astros under the 87.5, A's over 71.5, Mets under 90.5, and Arizona over 86.5. The MLB over-under picks for 2025. Well, next time we get Timmy Kirkton on, we'll actually let Tim analyze our selections, perhaps, and see what he thinks.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Today, we've got more coming your way here on 757 Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're all over the web. We encourage you to interact with us as well. But we're going to play some commercials to pay some bills and come back with more right here on CoVA Sports TV. So we'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned, ladies and gents, and make sure you hit that like button, the share button, and most importantly, the subscribe button to get all the updates when we go live and in living color with all of you. Stay tuned. Now this from those that make it possible.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
At Rush Soccer, our love of the game and the community we create doesn't stop when we leave the pitch or when the season ends. We are more than an individual player, team, club, or league. We are a truly global community of athletes, parents, coaches, professionals, and fans. We believe that youth sports and the pathway to a lifelong love of soccer have the power to form deep, meaningful connections that will fundamentally shape our players and those in our community. We believe that what we feel is the key to what we can achieve. Feel the pride. Feel the confidence. Feel the legacy. Feel the connection. Feel the trust. Feel the acceptance. Feel the purpose. Feel the difference. Feel the rush.
At Atomic Wings, we prioritize real chicken with fresh, all-natural, never-frozen ingredients, all packed with serious flavor. Order from over 15 awesome flavors at atomicwings.com.
Okay, folks, this is the Norfolk Tides Sweet Press Box. Take a look at this. Good stuff right here. You got the TV, you got the table, you got... Hold on, wait. You even got Coach Ed Young in the house. What are you doing here?
Watching some good baseball, minor league baseball with my future Yankees and some future Orioles coming on up.
Unbelievable. They let anybody in Harbor Park's press box. Unbelievable. Can't believe it. I'm just lost for words.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
All right, we're back here. We're going to play a little quick game of buy or sell before we take another timeout and do our college basketball Sweet 16 breakdown on this particular episode of 757 Sports Talk. It's not on a Saturday, but instead it is on a Wednesday night, the eve of the Major League Baseball season commencing and the eve of the Sweet 16 for college hoops. Ed, you ready to play some buy or sell here for baseball?
Let's do it. I got a few.
Here we go. First one. Buy or sell, neither Aaron Judge nor Shohei Ohtani, neither will lead their league in runs batted in 2025. Last season, Judge became the first player since Prince Fielder in 2009 to drive in 140 or more runs in a season, while Shohei Ohtani led the NL with 130 ribbies, and he became the first since Tommy Davis drove in 153 in 1962. To do it for the Dodgers as far as having that many ribbies. That was the club's fifth season in L.A. In fact, Ohtani joined Matt Kemp as the only Dodgers to lead the NL in both home runs and ribbies in the same season. So, yeah, there you have it.
Sell it because Ohtani most definitely will. Judge 90% will. But Ohtani definitely will lead the National League in RBIs. So I'm selling it.
I'm going to buy this. I think it looks too obvious, and injuries can occur to either guy, knock on wood. There are enough good players in both leagues to step up to the plate and do this. So I will take this. I'm sure you probably could get this at some place that has props as at plus value. So give it to me. And if I'm wrong, I will buy you some Dippin' Dots at Harbor Park. How about that? It'll have to be in 2026 because we won't know until the end of the season. So, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. I needed my Dippin' Dots. That's boy, that's some cold ice cream, though. Woo!
It's good. We're giving the Tides a shameless plug about how good their Dippin' Dots is on the concourse. Maybe they'll hook us up with something neat. Let's go to number 2.
They should.
Over under 53.5 for the MLB home run leader. Are you buying that as an over? In other words, we're not saying you over under. Are you going to buy this? Means you take the over. You sell it means you take the under. Now, last year, if you remember, obviously the home runs were prodigious for your guy, Mr. Judge, 58, and Ohtani had 54. So the home run leader, do you think that the guy will have this? Are you buying that, or do you think it'll be less than that in terms of the home run? You're putting your head down. Why? This is not that hard a question. What do you think?
No, it's not a hard question, but the trend has been over 50, 3 years in a row?
Sounds about right.
I'm going to buy it. I think it's over. I think it's 54 or more.
I agree. I'm going to buy it as well. I think somebody could get hot. And I'll tell you who I wouldn't put it past if he stays healthy is Vlad Guerrero. I could see him having a monster year to try to go out and prove the critics wrong. Somebody like that. It might not be a Judge or Ohtani. Certainly they're great candidates to do it. And if he gets enough plate appearances, he does such a great job at drawing walks. Juan Soto could be in that hunt to have one of his best years ever as well. So there are some guys who can do it. And I think 54, 55, 56, it is very much achievable for someone in Major League Baseball to get that done. So enough about the hitting. We're going to go to something that involves pitching. Why not? Let's give the pitchers some love. And the next one is an interesting one. An MLB pitcher will win 20 games during the 2025 regular season. Are you buying that or are you selling it? And by the way, last year, Tarek Skubal led the sport in the American League with 18. He joined some former Tigers that have had 18 plus, like Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. Verlander of ODU fame, of course. Scherzer won a World Series with the Nats, also once pitched for the D-backs. Chris Sale did it in the National League close to it. He had 18, didn't quite get to 20, but will we have a 20-game winner? Buy or sell, Ed?
I think Skubal gets 20 this year because I think Tigers are going to win more games. They're going to win more games.
Buy this.
Problem with the pitching is everybody's got delicate arms.
We do. And we've had a 20-game winner in 12 of the last 14 seasons. How about that? But I'm going to sell this because of what you just said. I don't think we're going to have a guy get to 20. I think there'll be some guys at 17, 18, maybe even one get to 19. I don't think they will get there. So give me no. Not going to happen. I'm selling it. You're buying it, huh?
I'm going to buy. Somebody will break through. Maybe some young dude. Somebody who got a strong arm. I think Skubal can do it. Detroit, I think he can do it.
You don't think Zach Gallen or Corbin Burns can do it?
Problem with the D-backs is they're going to spread their wins out among their pitchers. They got a good staff. They're going to spread them out.
Dodgers. The Dodgers pitching is not as bad as it used to be with obviously Snell and Yamamoto and Glasnow.
I forgot. Now that's a team that's going to probably win 100. Definitely win 100 some games. So,
well, 20 to our next buy or sell question. Go ahead and read it.
The LA Dodgers will set a major league regular season for wins in a season. Seattle Mariners.
Let's get that fixed here as it was not typed in properly. There we go. There, go ahead. Go ahead.
LA Dodgers will set the major league regular season record for wins in a season. Seattle Mariners had 116 in 2001.
And what happened to Seattle that year? They lost to the Yankees in the ALCS before the Yankees fell in 7 games to Arizona, and the greatest World Series of all time. What do you think?
Oh, no, it definitely was the best World Series of all time.
Oh, absolutely was. Luis Gonzalez, walk-off single over Jeter's head off Mariano Rivera in the 90s. Does it get better than that? Come on.
Widely known as one of the luckiest winning.
Wait. Luck is what you call young Kim gagging like a dog in games 4 and game 5.
And I will admit the Yankees blew too. They took the D-backs a little too easy. I'll admit it.
Really? You couldn't hit Kurt Schilling or Randy Johnson to save your life. Go ahead.
But you know what? As good as the Dodgers are, I don't think they'll get to 116, 117. I think they're going to top off about 110, 111. So I'm going to buy it. I'm going to sell it.
Well, if that's what you thought they would top off at, I'm surprised you didn't take them an over 103.5. I was going to take them as an under because I just despise them, being a D-backs fan, and it was scary for me though. So, but I'm with you. I'm going to sell this. I don't think they will set the record. You're asking a lot in terms of staying healthy. And then the other thing is if they have a big enough division lead, will they have the incentive to go hard for it in September? They'll probably want to get their rotation lined up, make sure Betts and Ohtani and Freeman are healthy for the playoff stretch run to have a shot at repeating. So because of all that, I don't think they will push to the limit to go get it.
Yeah, I don't think either. I think they'll have the most wins in baseball this year, but not 116, 117.
Okay. All right, our last one here. We gave you the pitcher to get 20 wins. What about a pitcher to lose 17 games or more during the season? Last year's leader in losses was Cutter Crawford, who lost 16 games as a member of the Boston Red Sox. He was 9-16 with a 4.36 ERA. Did have 175 strikeouts. You had two other guys that lost 15, and Chris Flexen. He's Flexen, all right, and Tyler Anderson, he of the LA Angels. Will someone lose 20 games? Buy or sell? That's asking a lot. I'm thinking sell. Because if he loses, lose 17 or more games, I should say, not 20. If he loses 15, he might get sent down or not pitch anymore. That's asking
sit down or shut down. Yeah, I'm going to sell it too. I don't think it's almost the same reason why we won't get many, if any, 20-game winners. Guys don't go as long. Arms are more delicate. And, you're talking about somebody would more than likely have to be on one of them bad teams. Mm-hmm. Marlins, White Sox, down towards the bottom, and stay healthy.
It is past Ed's bedtime. We're doing a late episode.
Nope. It's a surprising, I will say, on all honesty, I usually hit the sack roughly around midnight. So what time is it? 11?
It is, about 12 minutes to 11. Is Aaron Boone the guy? That's the big question for his Yanks this year. We are wondering, is he the guy? That wasn't a buy or sell question, but we shall see. They got to the World Series, and then they had the game they'd like to forget where they had a big lead, chance to push it on to Game 6 back in LA, and then you all gagged like dogs at Game 5 Yankee Stadium.
Bad news bears in the outfield, infield, some dumb base running. And Aaron Boone, the Yankee people wanted to get rid of him, hoping he would get fired. He wasn't. In fact, he was given an extension. So quell the Aaron Boone talk. He's there for the year, short of opening up 0-50. He's going to be the manager all year. And I'll hope their defense is not among the worst in baseball, again, if not the worst.
All right, there you have it. Coming up next, we break down the Sweet 16 in college basketball. Oh, there's a lot of chalk left in the tournament. All four number one seeds trying to make it to the Final Four. Your lowest seed is a 10 seed, the Arkansas Razorbacks. John Calipari, can you believe that, Ed, that they're still alive as a number 10 seed? Can you believe it? With his tablecloth suit that he beat your buddy Rick Pitino in last Saturday?
Yeah, that was
Providence.
That's a low blow on a tablecloth suit top.
I know, but it's the truth. I speak only truthisms. I've been to Fayetteville, and let me tell you, they get geeked up for basketball. Big Suey, will they make it to the Final Four as a 10 seed? We'll weigh in on it when we come back. And by the way, they might get a Duthero back. We shall see. Fingers crossed, Arkansas fans, if he can play in their Sweet 16 matchup against the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. And then if they advance, an opportunity to play either Florida, the Gators, and they're chomping, or Maryland and the Terps with Derek Queen. Crab dribble, travel, whatever you call it. Kevin Willow's the coach. ... For now, until he takes the Villanova job. We'll weigh in on all that when we come back right here on CoVA Sports TV. Stay tuned.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
CoVA Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit CoVAPainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
James Catato tells us tonight there's a new team making new noise in the USL2 scene on the other side of the water.
Something special is brewing inside the walls of the Virginia Beach Sportsplex.
We're not here for moral victories. When we're on our day, we're a legit team.
See the stars of the future in pre-professional action at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. This combined season ticket special is for men's and women's. That's 15 games for just $100 for adults and $80 for youth. VBU has a brand new women's team that competes in the W League. Soccer fans, it's time to rally behind Virginia Beach United. Tickets are on sale now. Visit vbunited.com. Don't miss out on Virginia Beach United.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we're back here on 757 Sports Talk. It is a Wednesday night special, not a Thursday, I should say, not a Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Monday, or Tuesday edition. It's the eve of the Sweet 16 in college basketball. And Ed, we have some compelling matchups for all the people out there in college hoops. We put it up on the screen. Here are your tip times. Here are your broadcast crews for the games on Thursday and Friday in men's college hoops to see who can make it to the Elite Eight this weekend. And then next weekend in the Final Four in San Antonio. You got Thursday up in Newark, BYU, Alabama. TBS and True TV for the matchup that features the top-seeded Gators of Florida. What a scare. They survived and advanced. It's all it's about this time of year, survive and advance. They beat UConn. They get Maryland, who also had to survive Colorado State thanks to the game winner from one Derek Queen at the horn, the freshman with 15 points. First buzzer beater of the tournament. They knock out the Rams 72-71, and Nico Medved, he heads to Gopherland. Arizona, Duke, also in Newark. How about the Blue Devils? Cooper Flag and Company dusted off Baylor 89-66. Caleb Love, once a nemesis of Duke when he was at UNC. Oh, he dropped 29 as the Wildcats hung on for dear life to show that Oregon's not all they're quacked up to be. Arkansas, Texas Tech, we teased it earlier. Calipari's bunch, after beating St. John's, takes on Texas Tech. Hard-nosed team that's physical. Friday in Atlanta, you got Ole Miss, Chris Beard taking on Tom Izzo's Sparties. Michigan State, which bunched up 36 bench points in her 71-63 triumph over New Mexico. 16th career Sweet 16 for Tom Izzo. Can Jace Richardson, the son of Jason Richardson, former NBA dunk champion and Spartan great, can he bounce back from an 0-for-9 start from the floor in the last round? We shall see. Kentucky, Tennessee. Do the Wildcats make it 3 in a row against the Vols? Tennessee's got Chaz Lanier and Zakai Ziegler. They think otherwise. Got a big commitment, by the way, this week from someone out of the Commonwealth, and Troy Henderson, former Lancaster and John Marshall standout. 3-time state champ, by the way. Michigan, Auburn, it's the bigs. Vlad Golden, Danny Wolf and company. Dusty May's Wolverines trying to get to the Elite 8, but they take on Bruce Pearl's top-seeded Tigers of Auburn, led by Janai Broome, National Player of the Year candidate. And then Purdue, life after Zach Edey is good after all for Matt Painter's Boilermakers behind Big Ten Player of the Year Braden Smith, but they have to beat Kelvin. Don't call him Kevin Sampson. Kelvin Sampson's Houston Cougars, who survived against Gonzaga thanks to L.J. Cryer's splendid performance. 30 points for Cryer, a perfect 8 of 8 from the foul line with 6 of 11 from three-point distance. Despite no field goals in the last 4 minutes and 29 seconds, Ed, they beat Gonzaga, the Zags, don't call them Gonzaga, 81-76 in the last round. So there you have it. Those are the matchups. What do you think about all of those? And we've got a question from a viewer in a second we'll get to as well. But my, oh my, some good games.
It's chalky, which most people like it that way. It's supposedly the better teams, though a lot of people like to have the double-figured seeds get in there. And there's only one left, Arkansas. And they have a shot against Texas Tech, but I don't think they'll win. I think Tech's defense will wear out Arkansas. I think Tech moves on in that game. Personally, I'd like to see Arkansas. Even though John Calipari does some crazy things, I am a fan of his. But Texas Tech, I would see Tech winning that game based on their defense.
Well, you guys go back to the 5-star days, because I'll never forget when I met John Calipari for the first time at Peach Jam. He remembered who you were. Oh, yeah, I know that Ed Young guy. I was like, oh, yeah, people that meet you, they don't forget. By the way, go ahead. Yeah.
We roomed twice in my years at 5-star.
We roomed with Calipari, really?
Yeah.
So you got just the tablecloth suit up close and personal.
No, that was way before he was of that nature. He was, I think he was an assistant.
Oh, Coach Harris out there of the state champion Green Run Stallions weighing in. Have we talked about the transfer portal while the NCAA tournament's going on? I'm sure this would take, how much time we got? A lot of time for Ed to wait on this.
The thing, as Coach Harris would know, and we'll do this lightly because we can't stay up all night. The portal's open not because of the NCAA. It is because, if I'm wrong, tell me, because of the registration deadlines for the college's fall terms, if I'm not mistaken, because kids got to get in, get registered, get their classes. Now I almost want to start laughing, but I won't. Get their classes. Yeah, that's important. They have to get their classes so they can get their degrees.
And there are some players like Pippin's son from Michigan, who's not played, I think, in any games lately, that are in the portal on some teams in the Sweet 16. So it's not just exclusively players outside the big dance as far as that goes.
The portal opened Monday as of this morning, 1,100 kids in the portal. And it is kids that still playing, their team is still playing, and a lot left. Xavier, which lost their coach Sean Miller to Texas, and Richard Pitino's taking Xavier's job. Xavier, all the returnees are in the portal, which you're going to see half of them go to Texas. A couple may stay. But yeah, that's the idea behind the portal. And we'll talk more about that down the road.
I think the advantage for Auburn in their matchup with Michigan, certainly they can use that 4-5 screen roll action with Danny Wolf, the Yale transfer, and Vlad Golden, who played at FAU on a team that made the Final Four just 2 years ago, Ed, that can do damage. Those bigs can give Auburn's bigs like Janai Broome and Dylan Carwell and company some issues. Chad Baker-Mazar is a wild card, but Pettiford and Denver Jones in the backcourt, I think, will be able to neutralize the Michigan guards. including Trey Donaldson, who's hit some big shots for them their last 2-round wins over Texas A&M that you see there coming from behind, and UC San Diego holding on for dear life to get that win. They got a big performance the last time out from Roddy Gale Jr. to Michigan. I don't know if he'll do that against Auburn. I like Auburn in this game, but I will say the spread is too much, folks. I think it's too many points that Auburn is laying. So for those out there that are interested in that, I think 9.5 is too big a number. I think Auburn wins this game by 6 to 8 points is how I would handicap it. How about you?
Yeah, unless Michigan has a horrible shooting day, it'll be close. And Auburn just has to make sure they can defend that pick and roll stuff with their bigs.
Yeah, Burnett's going to have to really knock down some outside shots for them, but I think they're capable of it. And I don't think Auburn will just pull away completely in that game. How about Ole Miss and Michigan State? Certainly, Sean Padula, the former Virginia Tech Hokie, saved the day for Ole Miss, which was up, I think, like 22. It got down to 2 against UNC late, but they couldn't complete the comeback. And Ole Miss, my goodness, did they just obliterate Iowa State? I know Iowa State's been dinged up with Keyshawn Gilbert, not at full strength, but my, oh my, their offense was just clicking. They hit their first 4 threes to start the second half. Iowa State missed their first 3. Malik Dia, he had 14 points before the 13-minute mark in the second half, and he averages just over 10.5 a game. I think Ole Miss will hang in there with Michigan State because they're the third best in the country at not turning it over. But will Michigan State's backboard play be the difference? The thing that's puzzled me, Ed, is Xavier Booker has not even hardly played the second half of the season for Michigan State. A lot of people thought he was one of their better players / prospects on the team, yet the Spartans, Richardson's going to have to step up. Jaden Akins, Trey Holloman, we'll see. But Izzo, it's March. He wins in March. Him and Chris Beard should be a great matchup. The last time they met, if you remember, Final Four, Texas Tech, when Beard was coaching them, took them down and then lost to UVA in the title game back in 2019. So this will be a good one, and I think it's another game that I would lean with the favorite in Michigan State. But as far as the spread goes, 3.5, not a gimme, not a gimme.
I agree. Michigan State, and again, I'm a big fan of H to the Izzo, B to the Izzo. Let's get Izzo moving on. I don't know how many more years he got. Can't be a lot. But, Mississippi, are they the most untalked about team left of the 16? Quite frankly,
I think so, because people, when they did their brackets, we all were guilty of taking that 11 seed winner, UNC San Diego State, to knock them out. And they came from the rugged SEC, and they've got a balanced team. And again, when you don't turn the basketball over, look at the metrics, you give yourself a chance. And they can score inside, they can score outside, they can play an up and down game. But I think they can hang in there in one of those grimy physical defensive battles with Michigan State too. That game is one of the underrated games because people are more fascinated by Duke, Florida, Auburn. Houston's gotten a lot of attention here lately too. I think that'll be a really good ball game, and that one could be a candidate for overtime. We haven't had an overtime game yet, have we? Still,
no. Surprisingly, we haven't. Of all these 64 games, it's surprising.
Now we've talked about Florida and Maryland before. Maryland, you love the starting 5 with Rodney Rice, with certainly Derek Queen, the game winner. He hit Julian Reese, Selton Miguel, and Jacoby Gillespie, the transfer from Belmont here. Florida Gators, they were a little bit skittish in that matchup with UConn. And how about saving the day for the Gators? Walter Clayton Jr., those shots he hit late against UConn. You talk about as clutch as it gets. He's one of the best lead guards in the tournament. Got to take one guard. Is he your pick, Ed, or are you going somebody else for you to get a basket from? One guard in this tournament left.
He would probably be my first words out of my mouth. And this is what you need in the tournament. You got to have decent shooting, obviously. Free throws is a must, and you got to control boards. Florida can do that. It's interesting. Florida and Maryland both had somewhat blowouts first round, and then nail biters second round. So they've been tested kind of both ways. But I just think Florida, they play 8-9 guys. Maryland can't do that. I think they can wear Maryland down. But I would not be surprised Maryland wins, even though going into the tournament, I jumped on drank everybody else's Kool-Aid and said going into the tournament, Florida was the best team in basketball. Well, why am I saying I won't be surprised if Maryland beats them? That's just what the allure of the tournament does. It's about matchups. It's not about who was good 2-3 weeks ago. Who's good on that tip-off day.
You know what worries me for the Gators is their foul shooting. They were really, really shaky at the foul line in that game against UConn. And you have confidence in Richard, Elijah Martin, and Clayton with the ball in their hands in crunch time, but they missed a lot of free throws. Let this game come down to free throws. Maryland could steal it at the end. I know Maryland's lost some. People talked about how many games they lost at the buzzer they were due to win one. Well, again, Gillespie late in the game, he could go win them the game, and Queen showed he can too. That freshman who people think will be a really good pro. Time will tell on that. Now let's move down to the bottom part of that bracket, Texas Tech, Arkansas. The Razorbacks did not get a big game from Big Z the last time out, but Janelle Davis, one of their lead guards, he's got tournament experience. DJ Wagner comes from good stock. You remember Milt Wagner. You remember his pops who played in the NBA. Texas Tech, what really fascinates me about this, Ed, is Kerwin Walton, 27 points in the first win against UNC Wilmington. They go out and beat Drake, a team that won 31 games, and Walton goes scoreless in this game. Darion Williams had 28. JT Toppin had 25 and 12. Elijah Hawkins almost had a triple-double in the first game, 16.7 assists. So Texas Tech can win even if one of their main guns does not have a big game, and Walton's not always one of their main guns. I think they have spread out contributions, and Texas Tech, remember, they shot a bajillion threes. They were just 2 of 14 against Drake from three-point distance, wins by double figures. The game before that, where they were trying to blow it late against Wilmington, had it come down to the wire, if you recall, that game, they ended up shooting 40-plus threes, a school record 46 attempts from three. So I get to this saying Arkansas has been a team that's been up. They've had big leads, and they've gone down. I just wonder if Arkansas has met its match in this game with Texas Tech and if they'll run out of gas. And I know they could get Thero back, but I just wonder if they can really impose their will on Texas Tech. And remember now, they were fortunate to beat St. John's because St. John's was 2 of 21 from three. I don't think Texas Tech will have 2 bad shooting games in a row after having a lot of threes put up in that first win.
Texas Tech's more physical, I think, than St. John's. They'll give Arkansas
in St. John's? Really?
Yeah, I do. I think Texas Tech is. I think Texas Tech's defense will give Arkansas problems. Close game. I said earlier I'd take Texas Tech in a close game. Arkansas is going to have to be on their game, I think, to pull this out.
I don't know if they're more physical than St. John's. They have more ways to score than St. John's, which is limited and sometimes can be their own worst enemy in terms of shooting. The Big East was not as good as we thought this year. They got nobody to the Sweet 16. I know UConn put up a valiant effort as a 2-time defending champ. Daniel Hurley's Huskies, even as he yells at people walking off the court, which he's known to do. But the Big East and ACC almost got shut out if it wasn't for Duke. And we see the power of the SEC with 7 teams alive. And Arkansas is really good, but the Big 12 is not getting enough love right now. They've got a lie for Final Four hopes, Ed. They've got Houston. They've got Texas Tech. They've got Arizona as part of their league now. Iowa State was dinged up, or they'd have been better positioned to get there themselves. So I think the Big 12 also has got BYU, by the way, newcomer to the league. Let's give them some love here. And speaking of the Big 12, we go over to the East bracket, and you have Duke taking on Arizona. Blue Devils, 93-89. Question for me to you is, does Arizona want to play this game in the mid to high 80s or 90s with Duke? Does that possibly favor them, or does that put them at a disadvantage? Because then you're depending on maybe those guards like Caleb Love and Bradley and company to make some plays, and their decision-making late in that game against Oregon, my goodness, it was very, very dicey to say the least.
Yeah, but, Arizona puts points on the board too now. Mm-hmm. Not the pace Duke does. But if you're going to limit scoring ability, obviously you got to step up your defense, and then you got to be a little bit more patient with the basketball within the shot clock, or because the more possessions you give Duke, the more points they're going to put on the board. I think this could be a 10, 12-point game for Duke. I think they can hammer Arizona. I really don't see Arizona winning this. I will be surprised if Arizona wins, even though you're not Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. You're not supposed to be surprised because teams are that good. And Caleb Love is a hell of a player, but I think Duke takes this.
So you think the 9.5-point spread is accurate and just right?
I didn't even see the point spread, and I would pick Duke by at least 10.
I think they could get there late. I don't think Arizona will win this game. Although Caleb Love he's due to go drop 32 and they win this game, then go out and go 2 for 14 the next round against either BYU or Alabama. That's just how he is. He can do it in the same game. He could have 20 points and a half and go 0 for the next half. So he's done that before. The thing that worries me here, Malowacz has got to play well for Duke inside. And I think he will. But the one thing that worries me if I'm Arizona is there's so much tension on Cooper Flagg and then Con Knipple. The guy nobody talks about for Duke who's just been lights out is Tyrese Proctor. He's 13 of 16 from 3 in 2 tournament games. He's the first guy since John Shire, the Duke head coach, to make 5+ threes in consecutive NCAA tournament games for the Blue Devils. And that's going back a ways because, Shire played, but it was in the last 5 years. So I think he's the guy that could go out there and bang 5-6 threes, turn this game around when Arizona's right there within a possession with 6 minutes to play. Next thing you know, Duke's up, like you said, 12-15, and they're in the clear. So they did beat it this year in Tucson. Remember that. So Arizona wants some payback, although Arizona won last season in Cameron Indoor.
I'm not saying they're going to jump out 10-0, 12-0 lead right at the beginning of the game, but I think can elongate it because what you just said, Proctor, they got guys that can put it up. It's not just Cooper Flagg show. Yeah. They've got other guys. So it's pick your poison, who you're going to stop. And I don't know if Arizona has enough of that firepower for this game. Give me Duke.
Well, remember, 19-4 in favor of Oregon, less than 5 minutes in to that round of 32 matchup between former Pac-12 rivals Zona now in the Big 12, Oregon now in the Big 10. Also in the Big 12 with Arizona is BYU. They take on Alabama. I turned you on to BYU this year. Remember, I told you a couple late-night games. I know you love Yegor Demon, who's one of the smoothest passing guards in the sport. And how about my man, Mr. Richie Saunders, knocking him down from deep for BYU. They can score it inside and out. I know you love the big boy Traore inside too. Bama, though, if you watch Bama, they've been a team that can win whether Mark Sears is on or not. Getting Grant Nelson back is a big deal. They're the fastest, highest scoring team in the country. This figures to be the most entertaining game if they both play at their offensive full potential, if you will, their maximum. This could be a 100-96 game or 95-91. All this can be a track meet. But I'm not sure BYU can outrun and gun Bama in a track meet.
Yeah, they have to beat Bama at Bama's game. And I'm not sure they can do that. BYU has been a darling of mine since about 4th game of the year. I remember seeing him telling you, hey, man, this BYU team's not bad. Discipline, rebound well, decent scores, hit free throws.
Your cousin Kevin Young.
Yeah, my cousin's the coach. He came out from Phoenix Suns assistant, NBA assistant. And, it's funny because a couple other teams now have hired NBA coaches as their new head coach for next year. So maybe the trend now is NBA assistants getting college jobs. But I like BYU, but not in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I remember I was worried about BYU in that first game with VCU, and they passed it with flying colors. They almost gave it away late with Wisconsin, and I could see that happen. I could see BYU up 6 to 8 points in this game, and then Bama hits them with a 16-6 burst. Next thing you know, you blink, and that's what happens. X factor is none other than Chris Youngblood. They are now, I think, 10-1 when he scores in double figures. I think that's going to be a big deal for Bama in this game. They got another guy, Cliff Amore, inside who's a double-double, walking double-double, probably a PIT candidate too. Give me Bama. And the spread, by the way, that's another interesting line, Ed. You look at that point spread with Bama and BYU. And I know you wonder what the over-under is too. Have you looked at the over-under? I'll tell you what it is if you don't know.
I'm going to say over-under is probably 178, 177.
You were close. 175.5, and the spread is 5.5. I would take the over for sure. 5.5. I think it's going to be right there, teetering one possession either way. I think Bama wins by 4 to 6 points. But I think the wise guys in the desert got it right on the button yet again. Let's go to our last break before we close out this special late night edition. We're going to get off before midnight, of course. Houston and Purdue. How about this game? It's in Indianapolis. What do you think about that, sir? As it is not exactly the sweetest of draws for the Houston Cougars. We mentioned how good LJ Cryer was, but Houston got a little dicey down the stretch in that game. Jawan Roberts, he's an enforcer inside for them. They got Milos Uzan, the Oklahoma transfer. Purdue, certainly Trey Kaufman-Wren's been really good inside for them. He's no Zach Edey, but he's been really good. Honorable mention All-American guy. Braden Smith, first-team All-American guy, Big Ten Player of the Year. And Purdue was rather businesslike in their dispatching of McNeese, 76-62. I heard someone made the comment, and I think it's so spot on. Maryland's probably the most talented team in the Big Ten. Michigan State's the most complete as far as how they play together and under what coaches at once. And then Purdue is probably the most deliberate, disciplined, and in sync type of team in the Big Ten. And they will give Houston some fits, I think, for doses of this game. But ultimately, I just think Houston's going to use their aggressiveness to wear them out in the closing minutes. And I think it'll be too much for Purdue. So I like the Cougars in this one. And I think that spread might be accurate. It's currently at 7.5. I think they'll win this by 10+.
Yeah, I think so too. A lot of people say Houston's the weakest of the number ones. Mm-hmm. And there were a few people thought, Gonzaga would knock them down. Everybody thought Gonzaga was seeded wrong and would knock Houston, but they didn't. And they're here now. I think this team is on a mission. I think their defense, they play great on defense. They run extremely well. Every time I think Purdue is a lock to lose, they win. I don't think they have this one, and I don't think it matters because Houston is that good. I would say this would be another, I think you said it too, double-digit win, and I would say 10 for Houston also.
I'm not a big Kelvin Sampson fan, but to his credit, this team shoots the basketball better with Emmanuel Sharp and LJ Cryer and Uzan and company. And I think if Purdue's plan is to win this game with the 3-point line, that might have worked years ago, but this Houston team is not as inconsistent shooting the 3-ball or the free throws, and that can certainly play in their favor as they try to get to the Elite Eight and then the Final Four. And then Kentucky and Tennessee. You think of Kentucky, and by the way, the ratings are up for the tournament. Let's just be honest. Kentucky has the most passionate fan base, and they turn out in the biggest numbers of any in the sport. I'm sorry, UCLA. I'm sorry, Indiana. I'm sorry, Duke. I'm sorry, Carolina. I'm sorry, Auburn, Alabama, UConn. Name them. There are no numbers that match Kentucky's numbers, and that's why the tournament numbers were up for the Sunday's round of 32 game that they beat Illinois. They don't have that mega recruit. They got Lamont Butler from San Diego State. They got a bunch of new faces for Mark Pope, the first-year head coach who once played at Kentucky for Rick Pitino, who came over from BYU. But, Ed, this team's got a lot of nice pieces. No lottery pick, no Karl Anthony Towns, John Wall, Anthony Davis guy. Yet, here they are trying to sweep Tennessee, who's got, in my opinion, the two best guys on the floor in Chaz Lanier, the North Florida transfer who's been shooting lights out, and Zakai Ziegler, one of the best assist guys in the tournament, probably the best one left now that Nembhard of Gonzaga is out. What do you think? Does Tennessee finally put it together and beat Kentucky, or they get swept and miss the Elite Eight for Hall of Fame candidate Rick Barnes, who has been snake bit at times in some big moments in the tournament in years past?
I know the first thing people look at and say, hey, Kentucky's beat Tennessee twice. And then it wasn't no 1-point win, last second win, whatever. And then the other people will say, well, you know how it is. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. And I always laugh at that and say, if I beat somebody by 10, 15 points twice during a year and play them a third time, I expect to win by pretty much the same. But the honest on improving in that game would be Tennessee, the team that's lost twice. Kentucky basically going to say, let's keep doing what we're doing. These teams know each other better than any matchup in the Sweet 16. But I think Tennessee and I think Barnes figures a way to stop what Kentucky did so well against them before. I don't think it's an automatic win for Kentucky. I do think it could be a last possession, i.e. Colorado State, Maryland, who has the ball last wins. Because these teams know each other so well, they make their moves. Mark Pope has done a tremendous job. I think when he took over Kentucky, they had no scholarship players on the roster, and he's gotten to the Sweet 16. So, and you're right, the fan base. I've always heard that they travel. Those boosters travel, and a lot of them are in planes. They fly in their planes and whatever, not just bus trips. And they do back. It's an older crowd, but they're there. Tennessee in this game, 2 points.
4.5 is the spread. 144.5 is the over-under. I think it will get over. But I will say this to you. Just 2 fast break points for UCLA in the round of 32 against Tennessee. They kept them out of transition, scoring those easy baskets. I don't think Kentucky can run and gun on Tennessee. I think Tennessee's defense will be up for the challenge. X factors to me, Meshack for Tennessee. And it is Mr. Carr, Andrew Carr for Kentucky, who makes all those winning plays and tangibles. Doesn't have to score for them, But I like Tennessee's defense to really dig in. I think their defense and Houston's defense could make for a fascinating Elite Eight matchup. Remember last year, Tennessee, despite the wonderful game from Dalton Connect, now the LA Lakers, fell just short against Zach Edey and the Boilers in the Elite Eight game that got Purdue to the Final Four before they eventually lost to the national champs in UConn. So Tennessee-Houston could be a rock fight in the Elite Eight if we get it, and I think we will get it.
Agree.
So as we close out this show, take a quick scan of the bracket. Who do you have left in the championship game and the Final Four? You want to go first for this or me? Is your bracket still intact? What are you thinking here?
Well, I would go.
You got out of the South.
Out of the South, who's going to come out of there? Auburn.
I agree. I got Auburn beating Michigan State. How about going to the West? You got Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, Arkansas. I've got chalked this whole Sweet 16, but if there's one upset, I think Maryland's got a chance to do it just because of Florida's foul shooting. And nothing against Todd Golden. He's a really good coach, but I thought Hurley outcoached him for much of that game on Saturday or Sunday, excuse me. Will Kevin Willard on his way to Villanova do that? I'm not sure. Maryland's bench worries me, but I got the Gators now. With the Johnnies out of that bracket, I think it's made for the Gators to do it, especially if they get Arkansas I think they'll cream Arkansas. Texas Tech could be trickier, but I got the Gators coming out of the West.
Yeah, I'm going Florida all the way. I don't think Golden is the best coach of those coaches left, but he's got the best talent.
Keep him away from the cheerleaders. Duke and Arizona, BYU and Bama. You got Duke over Bama, or are you going?
Yeah, I got Duke representing out of this. Yes, Duke.
I'm gonna surprise you. I'm gonna go with Bama to beat Duke. I think Bama can win a high scoring game, and I think Duke's gonna get tested here. I know they won their first two games by comfortable margins, but I think Bama's up for this. I do. And then I think their physicality on the baseline will give them issues, especially if Malawach gets in foul trouble, which he could. Houston, Purdue, Kentucky, Tennessee. You get to Houston, Tennessee. Who do you got going to the Final Four out of the Midwest?
If I'm not mistaken, in my main bracket, I have Tennessee beating Houston.
Do you really? You gonna stick with that?
I'm gonna stick with it just to be different because I know you got Houston.
Well, I don't love Houston, and I think Chaz Lanier has one of the sweetest strokes left in this tournament, and Ziegler's a really good point guard. And we mentioned Troy Henderson coming there from John Marshall. Congrats to Troy. We're going to probably try to get him on the show here. I know they got that big event up there in Jersey they're competing in, as is Princess Anne Girls. But I'm going to go with Houston over Tennessee in the Elite Eight. So that gives me a Final Four of Houston, Bama, Auburn, Florida. I've got Auburn cutting down the nets, beating Houston in an absolute fist fight. It won't be a rock fight. It'll be a fist fight. Pearl might punch Sampson, or maybe Sampson punches Bruce after Bruce calls him Kevin. Give me Auburn, and Charles Barkley will go streaking down San Antonio with all the big old women eating the churros. Even though I had Bama when we did an initial bracket, if you remember, but I'm going to get off Bama. I don't think they beat Duke and Houston back-to-back, so I will change it there. What do you have?
I have Duke.
You got Tennessee. You got Tennessee, Duke, Florida, Auburn. Go ahead.
I've got Auburn over Florida.
Okay.
I hesitate to say that, but I will. And Duke over Tennessee and Duke over Auburn.
You love Duke, don't you?
Yep, I got Duke all the way.
There you go. So that's Ed Young's pick. I'm going with Auburn, Word Darn Eagle, and we shall see how this all plays out. Well, this was fun. We got done before 11:30 Eastern on the East Coast, and we got some college hoops to take in. Should be a lot of fun for 757 Saturday Sports Talk as well.
Yep, we'll be on our regular time, 10 o'clock on Saturday.
We will.
So come on back. If anybody's watching this tonight late, they're probably all sleeping. But we'll be back Saturday. Good Lord willing, we'll be back Saturday, talk about a lot more things. And we'll have, the Elite Eight left.
We will.
We'll have our Elite Eight teams to say who's going to do what. Talk maybe a little bit about the women's tournament. I know we haven't given as much love, but
we will.
And hey, horrible thing, Juju.
Oh, awful.
I saw the play when it happened. She did get bumped, but that foot hit the ground and that knee just went right, left. You knew it was torn when she grabbed it, screaming out loud. I mean, you know what? I felt like it was one of my own players, believe it or not, because she's a great player, highlight player. And you don't want nobody to go down, especially a highlight player. and now she's out for a while. I mean, she'll be back next year at some point, but how good? Coming back from an ACL is not easy.
It's a stink for the women's tournament. There's no question about it. And you hate to see it. And I think it opens the door for UConn to win that region with almost relative ease here. And we might get a UConn-South Carolina final, although I wouldn't count out Notre Dame. I wouldn't count out UCLA. Texas, a lot of good teams still left in the bracket. How about Isaiah James? Let's shout her out. Princess Anna High's very own for NC State. She is balling. She's a hooper, ladies and gents. Big shout out to her. Oh, she's terrific. We've seen her from high school days, and she's just one of a kind, and it's great to see her continuing to put up big numbers and help her team get W's for West Moore's Wolfpack. And they got a big one with LSU and Kim Mulkey's team. That's going to be, and you never know what Kim Mulkey will wear, say, or do. She could have her headset knocked off by her grandkids. She could knock out a clipboard or a tablet of one of her assistant coaches like Simone Augustus, and you never know what she'll wear. She is unpredictable, and she's one of a kind as well.
She is definitely one of a kind.
All right. Well, so is Ed Young. And we'll be back with you, everyone out there in internet land for CoVA Sports TV and 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Have a good rest of your evening and sports week as we get closer and closer to April Fool's Day. And I've got some gags in store. Oh, no. Yeah, I got some gags in store for the coach coming up on Tuesday.
As long as there's no fool in the pool. I hope there's no fool in the pool.
Oh, you never know. You never know. We'll talk to you Saturday, folks. Have a great one. Enjoy the madness of March and the start of baseball.
Get your rest. It's late night.